Good morning, guys. As usual, TVC has a finger on the pulse, and if it's trending, we are definitely going to be talking about it in our first story. 32 years later, as you just saw, former military president General Ibrahim Babangida has admitted that the late Bashorun MKO Abiola unequivocally and democratically won the historic and tragic June 12, 1993 presidential elections. Now, while retired General Babangida has admitted to his mistakes, oversights and missteps in his book and to the world, mixed and moving reactions trail his truth 3 decades on. Let's take a look at social media. Mr. OK says, yes, Nigeria survived, but did it heal? The wounds of yesterday are still as fresh as tomorrow. Solutions is what you as an elder statesman who played a part in the demonization of our democratic state should be suggesting, not all these unapologetic apologies. Igboeze says, from my observation, IBB is preparing for his death and needed forgiveness from people he offended. It's like an open confession. T. Oracle says, I don't understand what those clapping of hands from the audience after 32 years. You are just coming out to explain a well-orchestrated logic to deliberately deceive more people. You think what you did was in the interest of the country in 2025? What do we make of this update? I will say that hope is a resilient thing that never truly dies. And even though this happened years before I was born, in my house it was constantly MKO Abiola Day. And democracy is extremely, extremely important. I think he was an ideal of hope and still is. Moving on now. The phrase, I am not afraid of you, dominated social media yesterday after Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan defiantly spoke the words to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, before being ordered out of plenary. Now, this drama started when Akpoti-Uduaghan's seat was relocated without prior notice, leading her to refuse the move. Now, while seat reassignments fall within the Senate President's authority, her strong reaction hinted at deeper tensions. Let's take a listen to this. The question remains, is there more to the friction between the two senators? I will say that if the greater good was her constituency and they take priority, I believe that she should have moved her seat and been in a position to continue to speak for them, because as they said that if she did not move her seat, she would no longer be able to speak for her constituency and she'd be excluded from conversations. So the greater good was her constituency. However, as a woman in the workplace and in a male-dominated field, I do understand and I sympathize with the emotion that she displayed in that video. I'm going to take some tweets now. Ismail Omotayo says, Akpabio needs to understand that he was elected by his colleagues to lead the chamber. They were both elected by their people to represent them in the chamber. He has no right to deprive her of making her contribution. Ayo Mero Essay says, womanhood is very proud of you, Senator, at Natasha Akpoti. Thank you for standing up for your constituents who voted for you to have a voice in Senate. Mara says, person wey beat Yaya Bello hands down for Kogi State. I beg, fear Natasha. And finally, Mezier had this to say. He says, Akpabio has turned the Nigerian Senate to the Nigerian House of Commotion. Very interesting. On one hand, we have the hero, MKO Abiola, Veronica and Ibrahim. On the other hand, we have Nigerian politics still seemingly taking a chaotic turn. I don't believe that this is what he stood for, but what do you guys make of this?
Let me begin with the Natasha case with the President of the Senate. I believe that if you are speaking for your constituents, you can speak from any position in the House. It's about speaking, it's not about where you sat. Even though, yes, there are places where people are meant to sit, but I'm thinking that it shouldn't have raised so much dust except there is more to it than we know, like everyone is alluding. So that must have been the case. I want to believe that Natasha is not a person that would react to a matter of you changing my seat in that manner. So I believe that the case here is not about the change of seat, but something that we all don't know. I hope they can bring us in so we know how to address this matter better. Now for the aspect of June 12 and the former military heads of state's confession, there's been so much that has gone on between now and 32 years earlier on. I wish he had made this confession earlier so that Nigerians can heal better, and those who lost families as a result of that incident and his decision. Because right now, I feel he's not necessarily taking blames, because he's saying he takes responsibility, regrets his action, but the matter of the decision to annul the election was that of late Sani Abacha. Late Sani Abacha is dead and he cannot defend himself, so to speak. So you are not necessarily taking the blame. You are still shifting blame to someone else.
It's a strategic apology.
That he has not really come out to apologize.
And I totally agree with you, because when I watched his response and also read some of the reactions, you know, I want to believe that late General Sani Abacha would probably have turned in his grave, because they had a professional and personal relationship before he died, and then when he became head of state, it looks like he sidelined General Ibrahim Babangida. He was his chief of staff at the time when he was the head of state. So whatever happened, whatever it is that had gone in between, let's wait for reactions to come afterwards. With Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan, I feel that there is more to this than meets the eye, because it goes beyond changing the seat. There is an order. So whether it is procedural or personal, only God knows. But the National Assembly, known for chaos, but I think there have been semblance of, you know, reasonableness there. But I want them to continue in line of representing Nigeria's interest rather than personal interest when it comes to issues that they need to thrash.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. As you saw, Abdul Mumin Abiola did say that his father viewed these people as friends. Moving on now. Controversial Nigerian singer Habib Okikiola, aka Portable, has been arraigned before a magistrate court in Abeokuta, Osun State, on charges of assaulting government officials. After being declared wanted, he surrendered to the Lagos Criminal Investigations Department before being transferred to Ogun, where he faced a 5-count charge, including conspiracy, assault, and wielding dangerous weapons. Despite not pleading guilty, the court has granted him 2 million naira bail. With the trial set for March 5th, all eyes are on Portable. Will he beat the charges, or will he land in more trouble per usual? Every day this week, I have been forced to talk about Portable. I'm going to take some tweets right now. Tolu says, Portable no go speak care. It's not possible. Make them cuckoo hold their bail. He go talk, because part of his bail conditions are that he's not to speak on social media, which is going to be very hard for him. I'll take another tweet. I hope he doesn't breach his bail. Sarah Lee Dixon says, they should have just locked him. This social media thing will be hard for him. We are watching Portable, but there are more pressing issues at hand. In our next story, the Nigerian pastor and Osun Monarch busted in the 4.2 million naira fraud. There's a shocking twist to that story. Nigerian pastor now, Edward Abiodun Oluwasanmi, has been nabbed by the FBI for allegedly teaming up with the Osun Monarch, Oba Joseph Oloyede, in the multi-million-dollar COVID-19 fraud scheme. This duo is being accused of scamming the U.S. government out of a staggering $4.2 million in relief funds that were meant for struggling businesses. Now, Pastor Oluwasanmi is indicted on a 13-count charge and was arrested in Cleveland and later released on a $20,000 bail. Though he's far from off the hook, if he's convicted, he could be facing serious prison time. Unfortunately, this high-profile scandal only adds to the long list of Nigerian fraudsters caught in the U.S. We've seen the narratives with ritual killings and all of this, and people saying that young people are greedy and young men want instant gratification and quick wealth. We're seeing that this cuts across age groups, this inherent greed that people are seeming to have. And I'm noticing a close correlation between people of faith, unfortunately, or religious leaders or religious members of the community, and crime and this get-rich-quick scheme. And I hate that I'm making that connection, but I'll take some tweets right now. Henry says, this is incredibly disappointing to hear. It's a betrayal of trust when someone in a position of religious leadership is accused of such serious crimes. If found guilty, appropriate consequences should follow. Rightly so. That's all we have for right now. But do you have a story that you think we should cover on Trending Now on TVC? Or do you just want to join in on our conversation and chime in? Please tag us with the hashtag TrendingNowTVC on any social media platform. I promise you we are listening. Ibrahim and Veronica, what do you make of this? I mean, a pastor has now been arrested in America, and he's probably going to be indicted because America doesn't play. They have their facts straight. He might be convicted. Absolutely. It's another black eye for the international reputation of this country. You know, when you have people having to get into cyber fraud, get into things to defraud other countries, let alone not just doing it to their own country, but outside of the country, and then you begin to wonder why they treat us the way they treat us, and they treat the innocent, innocent minds and all of that. So if they are found guilty, I recommend that they should be, convicted and penalized, punished, for what they've done, because it's really sad for us to even read about it, let alone to see that it's perpetrated by our own people. It's unfortunate that their personalities who are revered in society are now taking up this kind of act. It's really unfortunate, and it paints a grim picture of what those who are coming up and looking up to them would be seeing. Some people hold these persons in high esteem and see them as mentors, but what is the message you're passing across? We see that reflecting on the younger generation. It's unfortunate, and so they should be penalized and brought to justice. But for Portable, I want to believe that he is learning his lessons, and so should do the needful and meet up with all the requirements of bail. He has met the requirement for bail, but then should keep himself under right now and do the needful. I know he's restless. I know he likes to be all over the place. I know he wants to be the subject of the conversation and all of it. But I think that as he wants to turn a new leaf, because he had mentioned that people are using his attitude and all of it against him, he should begin to learn to change that narrative and change indeed. But Veronica, who is Portable without controversy? But are you asking Portable not to be popular any longer? No, if he turns a new leaf, I'm telling you, a lot of people will be shocked. And that could also sell him. But right. So there will be no climbing the stage, jumping over the speakers to perform, and some of the things. He should even know he's getting old. Guys, you guys are still on Portable, but I'm still on this pastor story, unfortunately, because I want to put this into some context. You have millions of people who are giving this man money, and he was still greedy enough to go and scam for $4.2 million. Can you imagine that in Naira? This is scary about our religious institutions. I'm really tired of talking about Portable at this point. Regardless of the amount of money, even 1 naira is a problem. As long as you've stolen it, it's stealing. So the price to pay for stealing 1 naira or stealing 100 million naira should also be the same, ditto to 1 naira. Crime is crime, no matter, regardless of the how big or how large it is. I am interested in Portable because he's making news, and a lot of people in Nigeria can relate with him, but it's fine. We'll have to leave the conversation here now. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the show today. Let's let you know that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Up next is Your View with the Ladies.